In 2015, Dwight Howard asked out of Houston and demanded a trade after 2 years of playing with James Harden. In 2019, Chris Paul asked out of Houston and demanded a trade after 2 years of playing with James Harden. Now this year, 2020, Russell Westbrook is asked out of Houston and demanded a trade after playing 1 year with James Harden. See a coincidence? Me too. James Harden is the issue here. Hello YouTube, what's going on? Shaney 2K here, and today we're going to be talking about James Harden. Now, if you're new to the channel, please leave a like and subscribe and comment how you feel about Russell Westbrook demanding a trade out of Houston. Go check out my socials on the link below, and let's hop right into the video. I believe that James Harden must be the issue of players wanting out of Houston. After the Thunder chose Serge Ibaka over James Harden in 2012, the Rockets became James Harden's team, and in the last 8 years, he's become one of the most prolific scorers we've seen in recent years. In 2015, Dwight Howard was in his second year on the Rockets, putting up a career low in points per game in what seemed to be the peak of his career. Being the second option on the Rockets behind James, Dwight and James spent a lot of time together on and off the court, and were one of the scariest duos in the league, putting up a combined 42.7 points per game. Besides the Miami Heat and Golden State Warriors, this team seemed to have the most potential. The team finished only 41-41, 8th in the Western Conference after losing in 5 to the future champion Golden State Warriors. At the time, this all looked like Dwight's fault, making himself available, and the start of his downward spiral, which has since ended with the Lakers. But maybe this was James Harden's fault. Out of 3 people I mentioned, this was for sure the least toxic one that I could see. The next player to beg to leave the Rockets was Chris Paul. Once again forming a terrifying duo in the West, James Harden and CP3 were a dominant duo together. In their first season together, they were first in the West, bringing the Golden State Warriors to 7 games in the Western Conference Finals and then eventually losing to them. The next season, there was a little turmoil, but the cracks started to show between the duo. The Rockets finished 4th in the West in the 18-19 season, again losing to the Warriors, but this time in 6 games only in the second round. Chris Paul and James Harden could visibly be seen arguing and yelling at each other after crucial playoff games lacking chemistry, blaming each other for different things to the media, and ending with Chris Paul demanding a trade off of the Rockets, which is how we got our final culprit. Chris Paul was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who seemed to have no chance after losing Russell Westbrook and Paul George in the same offseason, just to get Russell Westbrook on the Houston Rockets. The Rockets traded Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook, a player James had experience with in the past on OKC with their big three of Russ, Harden, and MVP Kevin Durant. This duo lasted a full season together, playing in the bubble and barely beating the Thunder in a very exciting playoff series in the first round, but then eventually losing to the Lakers in 5. By the end of Game 5, you could see Russell Westbrook not giving a single care in the world about what happened, picking fights with different players on the Lakers, family members of Lakers players that were visiting them in the bubble, and everyone on the court seemingly, and having visible issues with Harden. Now Mike D'Antoni was fired from the team, and Russ has demanded a trade. The only player left to look at is James Harden. While James is an incredible player, it seems he is not a great team leader for these Rockets. It has to be him being the problem, forcing 3 future Hall of Famers off the team without reaching a single NBA Finals. Now, saying that Dwight and Russ could have been the problem would be an acceptable response, but making the man who runs the NBA Players Association and one of the best leaders and players in the league today, like Chris Paul, leave the team was what signals it for me. James has also made questionable decisions in the front office we all for sure know that he's had his hand in. Clint Capella was traded this season, forcing a small ball type of team and giving James the most touches possible. James Harden has committed to Houston publicly, and who knows what they'll get for Russ, but we all know that the Rockets' future is looking very bleak. That is all, guys. If you're new to the channel, like I said, subscribe, leave a like. I just ended gaming on the channel, so I'm trying to grow as fast as possible. I'm sorry about the other day. YouTube did shut down on me as I made a Russell Westbrook video that announced that he wanted out. And, I started a podcast called Benchwarmer Banter with my friend Jaden, a.k.a. GJs. It's on Spotify, everywhere you can see podcasts that are available. And also, check out all my socials down below in the link tree. That's all, guys. Everybody stay safe. Comment what you think is going to happen with James Harden and the Rockets. And that's all. Peace out.